BoobTube, episode 7. Starting a few minutes early. Starting early so that we can make sure we are not late.
That's right. Want to be with
the Toby BoobTube show.
And it's Helen, and I'm here to talk all about our awesome topic with all you mamas out there.
Yeah, we're just waiting for everyone to come on. We decided to come on a little bit early so that we are ready whenever everybody jumps on. We are already like ready and in our little bit of a groove thing going on. So obviously, if this is your first time watching the BoobTube, Helen is the inventor of the milk saver.
That's right. And Toby's the inventor of the milk trays.
Yes. And together we are the
Milkie's moms.
I'm telling you, I think
you're trying that again. Take two.
Ready? The
Milkie's moms. Woohoo!
It's so corny. We're terrible at that.
Yeah, we are corny, but that's okay. That's what we're here for, to embarrass our kids, right?
We're early, and we already have 5 viewers, which is great. We're just waiting for the actual hi to whoever our 5 are. You know, give us a shout out.
Hi. We'd love to give you a shout out.
Yeah. We're just waiting for a few more minutes for everyone to come on, but we're excited about our episode 7, BoobTube. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a really awesome topic, something that's near and dear to your heart, right, Helen?
That's right. We're going to talk about breast milk donation. And it seems like, breast milk donation, I get it. The name says it all. But guess what? We're going to get into some of the details of it. And I think it's going to be really interesting. I think folks are going to be get a lot of really good information and maybe kind of a new perspective on breast milk donation, why it's important and how we can do it, why it's important. Because remember, as moms, we make babies perfect food. It's not something that can be replicated in a lab or, there's no substitute for breast milk. And, that's something that's supported by science now and why breast milk donation is important.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that, I think moms do know about it, but it's not something that's the forefront in their mind. And we're just chatting. Hi, everybody. We're just chatting, kind of waiting for the actual noon time to kick in. We're just, I think it's going to be a great conversation. I think we're going to, get some information out there, which is what the BoobTube is all about. And we're going to have some really important news once we get a big influx of people that we're going to talk about. Stay tuned for that because I cannot wait to share that information. I'm telling you, we need
I think it's going to be something that interests people. Maybe there will be things that may be given away for free, like really great products that moms may find useful. Hey,
Christy. We are actually ready to go. We're just waiting for that less than 1 minute where we're going to go live and really start talking to everybody about an awesome conversation, which is going to be breast milk donation. I think it's really a key important information that we're going to get out there to everybody. Yes. And it's we're just waiting for a bunch of people. So Helen, this is something that's really important to you because I think you've definitely done some donation in the past, correct?
That's right. I donated over about 220 ounces when my son Henry was just a little baby. So I was one of those lucky moms whose kiddos slept through the night, which means like 4, 5, 6 hours pretty early on. And so I noticed if I also slept that long, I had a drop in my milk supply. So I was one of those people that even though my kids were sleeping through the night, I wasn't. Okay, I would get up in the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 in the morning, do the pump, in the bathroom. And, so I had a lot of extra milk stored because I was lucky enough to have my milk saver and then pumping at night. And there was times when I had a lot of milk stored. And my husband was like, okay, like your milk is taking over the freezer. I think you need to do something about this. And I was like, yeah. And I knew how valuable it was because with my first, I didn't have enough milk. There was many, many times when I would be so stressed. And if I came home from work, my husband would say, well, the bag had a leak, or, he drank more than we thought, or it spilled somehow. And, we're down to the very last bag of milk. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I just need to set my alarm 2 times in the night and get up and pump. So,
like an inflow of people. I think we're finally officially got a bunch of moms watching. So, hi everybody.
Yeah, give us a little comment. We want to know you're there. We love that.
Yeah.
We love moms a shout out.
So today we're going to be talking about breast milk donation, which I think is something that's really important to talk about. It's not something that's really talked about a lot out there. I definitely didn't know a lot about it before really meeting you, Helen. So this is something great to talk about. And what I want to let everybody know right now is that we are going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the show. We're going to be giving away some amazing Milkie's products. And how we're going to be doing that is we're going to be selecting moms from their comments. So please start doing some comments so that you can win some free Milkie's products. And of course, we love all of our viewers. We love that you guys love to share the information that's learned here from the Boob Tube. So please go ahead and share us on your Facebook page, or actually tag a mom that you think that the Boob Tube would really, help her out. We're all about sharing, supporting, and giving information here on the Boob Tube. But today we're going to be talking about breast milk donation.
Yeah, and this is so important. And breast milk donation is one of those things that you really need to kind of know about, and what's sort of the background, like why is breast milk donation important? Because it's not an easy thing to do. You have to seek out a milk bank, and you have to kind of go through their screening process. And, you've got to understand, why is this an important thing to do? Why does the screening process need to happen? Oh, hi, Jessica. Hi, Jessica. Awesome. And one of them's a donor.
Oh my gosh. Share with us, how much you've donated so far, and maybe where you're donating to, because that's something I want to ask, Helen. So, where are, how many are there, and where are these milk donation banks?
So there are 18 milk banks here in the United States, and there's many, many more milk depots or drop-offs. So even though you may not have a milk bank in your state, because of course there's only 18, so there's not going to be one for everybody, but there's usually depots you can drop your milk off, or you go through the screening process, you become a donor, and they'll just send you this big styrofoam cooler and a FedEx label, and you just ship it off. So you
Jessica.
Yeah, your UPS guy, your FedEx guy, just let them know. Be careful. That's my breast milk in there. So carefully. Oh my gosh, Jessica, 23,000 ounces.
I'm like blown away. I mean, if I could be shooting off some things for Jessica, wow, 23 you have help. That is amazing. Okay, so first let's talk about milk donation and why it's so important. I mean, obviously we used to do something like that many, many hundreds of years ago. We did something that was like that, but it wasn't actually like that. So tell us about that.
Well, first of all, I see some people that have questions about the screening process, and we'll get to that for sure. So just hang tight. So what's interesting is that we used to have a person in our society, usually someone that was called a wet nurse. And a wet nurse was someone that just pretty much breastfed everybody's babies all the time. And what we're learning, it's kind of a controversial subject, actually, because we know that sometimes nurses' children went without in order to feed her employer's children. So it's not a position that should be really glorified, but really we're starting to learn more about the details of what a wet nurse's life was like. But now we do it in a way that's much different and much more kind of freely done between moms. So breast milk donation is important though, because there's a lot of babies that are prematurely born, or even that are full-term healthy babies that have problems with digesting artificial milk, which would be formula. So, we do know that there are kind of alternatives to that. We know there's soy formulas and some different kind of configurations that aren't based on cow milk, but usually formulas are cow milk based. And there's also babies that have issues with cow milk, with soy, with a lot of different components of formula, and breast milk is really the only option for them. And so then if their mom has trouble with production, that kind of puts, you have really no other options besides donor milk.
Right. And formula originally
Hey, Abby. Hey, Amy.
Formula originally came out because they were trying to replace the wet nurse, right? Mm-hmm. That was something that he was out there, the wet nurse was out there being able to, feed these other babies that their moms either did not want to or could not breastfeed. Right. And so formula replaced that. And then eventually, unfortunately, kind of became the main thing. And we're kind of getting back away from that, which I think is amazing. But the great thing about banking is that's kind of the new replacement of the wet nurse, basically.
That's right.
Breast milk to moms that don't have the ability to maybe breastfeed their babies.
That's right. And it really equalizes things, because a wet nurse, how many of us have someone in our home that just helps us and feeds our baby? And not me. So wet nurse,
I don't really think he's got
it out. Yeah. This is really something for, the higher, the higher income type folks. Have the availability. It wouldn't be like normal folks like me and Toby,
no.
But it'd be
these 18 milk banks. One thing, how can moms find these milk banks?
So I'm going to post a link in our comments, but it's the Human Milk Banking Association of North America, and they have the list of all the milk banks, and also your local milk banks will have a way to get in touch with your depot. So your depot or your drop-off site is just someplace that collects your milk and then sends it to your milk bank for processing.
So let's talk about the screen. I'm sure a lot of moms, including myself, are like, where does this breast milk come from? What is it okay? Is it all these different moms?
Right.
What?
So it's kind of interesting because, I was a breast milk donor, like I mentioned. So I've gone through the screening process, and what they do is they just ask you some basic questions. First of all, like the initial screening is, do you take prescription medications? Do you had a blood transfusion? Do you smoke? And then do you drink more than 2 ounces of alcohol per day? So those are
Taylor, you're a donor for baby. That's awesome.
Awesome, Taylor and Megan.
All of our donor moms love all these amazing comments.
Yeah, that's great.
Sharing your stories. I think that's encouragement for moms. Way to go. We love that. We love that. And of course, we are going to be giving away some Milkie's products to moms that we're going to be randomly picking through the comments. So keep those comments up. But okay, so now you see something out there. So you're saying that certain things can make a mom maybe not be able to donate milk. And obviously one of them was prescription medication.
Right. Some prescription medications can eliminate you from the potential to donate, because a lot of medications do go through the breast milk. Now, let me tell you this, though. I just read an article about this recently, that most prescription medications are actually perfectly safe to take while you're breastfeeding, because such a small amount goes into your breast milk. However, when you're donating to kiddos that potentially have health issues. So we wouldn't want, so they have to be a little more kind of judicious about the screening process when they collect donor milk. So it's a little different than just feeding your own baby.
A little different. Okay. So obviously donate a blood transfusion. That's not necessarily a common one that moms, but prescription medication could be smoking. I think a lot of breastfeeding moms don't smoke, but there might be some that do. Now the alcohol thing though, I do have a little question about that, because, so when you say 2 hours, 2. So you're saying that this type of of wine glass. I know it's not really a wine glass, but you know, I have my own. This would definitely be out of that 2 ounce range, right? This would not be a good one.
That'd probably be a month's worth, like if you could just a little tablespoon a day or something.
Because usually you can, you know, you can have I mean, I remember when I was breastfeeding, my physician said I could have like a glass of wine, you know, once a week or something like that, and that was still fine breastfeed. Right. With breast donation, that I guess that's still the same because it's 2 ounces a day, so you can kind of collect that. So maybe 4 ounces one time would probably be okay, right?
Right. And I saw a question there, Corinne. Yes, you can donate while you're breastfeeding. You just really have to have a surplus in the freezer. So, and then someone else had a question if it's through a hospital. There are a lot of milk depots that are located in hospitals, or your milk bank may be closely associated with your hospital as well. So, great question.
You're going to put in the comments, you're going to put a list of some websites to go to for moms to easily find those. That's a good.
Haley, you're funny.
Okay, so now is something okay? So now we're talking about but how do you get the breast milk from these milk banks? How does that happen? Is there
okay. Yeah, there might be. I'm just going to go back to the screening process real quick. So they ask you some questions, and then you have to submit a little bit of blood for blood testing, and then they just go through and make sure that, you know, they kind of verify what you're saying is all kind of on the up and up. And they also wait for kind of anything additional, because you may have been exposed to something and you don't know it. So even though you're answering questions honestly, there may be a chance that you have something and you don't know it. Hepatitis C, for example, HIV, these are things that would exclude you from being a breast milk donor. And these are conditions that you may not be aware that you have. That's a lot of people out there that wouldn't know.
Now, how do they get the blood drawn? They go to their doctor and their doctor submits?
Yes, that's part of the screening process. For me, they sent someone to my house and she drew my blood. And I live way out in the boonies. So she had to like drive way out to my house and draw my blood and then take it with her. So it's, you know, donor milk is very safe. And we're going to get into the difference between casual sharing and then getting your milk from a milk bank. And the screening process is one of the things that really differentiates a milk bank, bottle of breast milk from like casual sharing. So.
And I saw Jessica say you can drink while breastfeeding. Well, I mean, obviously, yes, but obviously it's like the one glass of wine, like ice.
Right.
Not this kind of glass of wine. It's something very, very small that you can do. But, you know, that screening process was that little safety net, really, you know, because there's multiple moms and there's all different kinds of, you know, situations that could be going about. And sometimes it's nice to have that safety net, you know, so that you know that milk that you're getting has been screened and, you know, doesn't have any organ or any medications maybe that might not be good for your baby. It's good to know that.
Right, exactly. And I actually visited my local breast milk bank. I wrote a little article about it on my blog, and it's called the Northwest Mother's Milk Bank. And that's here in the Portland area, and got a little tour of their facilities, and it was just very inviting and wonderful. But what they do is they collect all the milk they thought, and then they pour it into these big containers and kind of mix it all together. And so that, because if you think, Toby, if you have a 1-month-old and I have a 7-month-old, our milk is going to be different. Our milk is going to have different components. So what they want to do is really try to get everything really standardized as much as possible. And that's why they're going to blend it all together. And no, there's no issues about, Corinne, there's no issues about what you eat or anything like that. So just there's a very short list of things that would disqualify you from being a donor.
And each bank probably has their own parameters and their own, kind of rules and regulations. They're probably a standardized, but milk banking has a certain procedure that they do. So obviously once you find a milk bank that's close to you or that's near you that you choose to donate to, then there will be, a list of parameters for you with that.
Right.
Now,
and it's really just be safe. Use your, wash out your pump. Just treat it like you would your normal milk. I mean, you're going to wash your pump before and after each use. You're going to freeze your milk right away. You're going to be sure that you put the date on your milk, and then you'll probably be given a donor number, and you want to put that on your milk bag as well.
Okay. All right. Well, now let's talk about getting the milk.
Yeah.
I'm a mom. Let's say I'm a mom who is struggling with breast milk, or I have a NICU baby and I want to get donor milk. How does, is there a fee involved?
Well, there can be. It's kind of interesting because it depends on your insurance. So, yes, Ashley, yes, moms do sometimes have to pay. So there's a few things that you need to do. You need to talk to your baby's doctor, get a prescription, and then that prescription goes to the milk bank, and then the milk is then either shipped to you or you can come pick it up. If your baby is in the hospital, so if you have your baby's an inpatient in the hospital, your baby can likely be given donor milk at no cost to you. It's part of the medical treatment of your baby being in the hospital. If your baby's there, obviously there's a reason for it. And donor milk can then be billed as kind of a therapeutic medication. But once your baby gets out of the hospital, it's a little different and it's billed differently. And
okay, so that's where that fine line of insurance paying or not made.
Right.
Okay. So that makes sense why there's other non-milk baking facilities. There's places where women share their milk, sometimes for free, or women, is there a, do you know the price of milk? I mean, I know we don't want to get too much into that, but I feel like we definitely try to share all the information here on the BoobTube. And this is going to be a little bit of an underbelly in that situation. Maybe not scenario. So how much does that cost?
So the cost for donor milk from a milk bank is between $2 and $4 an ounce. So
that's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, think your baby is, maybe drinking 4 to 6 ounces at a time. That's potentially between $16 and $20 per bottle. It's but your insurance may cover it. A lot of insurances don't. I know, for example, TRICARE, which is the military insurance, doesn't cover it, but a lot of insurances might potentially do it if it's a medically necessary, therapy. And that's kind of what their criteria is. Is this medically necessary? And if your baby's, kind of doing okay and doesn't have a lot of other medical issues, they may say donor milk is not going to be something that we'll pay for at this time. So
this is something that definitely, we're in the world of breastfeeding, we definitely have leaps and bounds on, real breastfeeding and being supportive of breastfeeding. But this is an area that maybe is still a little bit behind the times.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something that we need to work on with the insurance companies then.
Right. And what's interesting too is you look at infant mortality rates. So I like to look at research and data and stuff like that. So we know here in the United States, we have one of the highest or the highest infant mortality rate of all developed countries. And that has to do with a lot of different things. But, the quickness in which we kind of discard breast milk as something that is healthy, and the rapidity that a physician will just say, well, just start formula. I think that trend doesn't help our health outcomes be as good as they are in the rest of the world. Like, for instance, Brazil has 128 milk banks, and they're kind of the world leader for milk banking, and their infant mortality rate dropped in half when they started to support milk banking. So, the science is really there.
Data right there that breast milk and breast milk banking and breast donation is saving lives. So, that's something that we definitely, need to make a movement on. I mean, we're making great movements on educating breastfeeding, getting the medical field behind breastfeeding, getting the government behind breastfeeding. But we keep going. We're still behind the times because 18 compared to, how many did you say?
120. And, Brazil compared to the U.S., I think we've got a few more people here than they do.
And it makes sense why there's moms that have popped up with sharing their breast milk, either for free or cost, because they're trying to, be those wet nurse kind of going around that isn't fixed yet, or isn't conducive enough all the time. And
right. And Amy was saying that she sells her milk now.
Safety net. So I mean, I think if you know the mom, or or your friend knows the mom, I think that makes it a little bit easier to do stuff like that. But it's definitely something that's really important, and we've got to be able to make it affordable for moms, and also have that safety net included with that. That's definitely very important.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. The fact that we, formula is our safety net, really, instead of donor milk being our safety net. And, unfortunately, that doesn't support the best health outcomes for our country. So.
Now, I think I read somewhere that there's not just nonprofit milk banks. There's actually for-profit milk banks also, where they pay you for your breast milk.
Yeah, that's right. So this is getting into some controversial stuff, ladies. Okay.
It's all about, though, right? It's important. Being educational could be, a little bit controversial.
Right. And this is one of those topics that'll get you just tossed right out. It'll get you tossed right out of the lactation consultant conferences if you bring that.
We're just saying we're just getting the education or information is out there, right?
Right. And the reason why this topic is so controversial is because for-profit milk banks are out there. And as you can imagine, they are competing with nonprofit milk banks for breast milk donors. So there's only so many moms that are donating. There's only so much that each mom is able to donate. And so if we have, a big company that has a lot of advertising resources and even maybe the ability to pay moms for their milk, then that really cuts into the nonprofit milk banks. And I think that whatever moms need to do, or whatever they feel is appropriate for their situation, whether they're selling milk, whether they're donating milk, I completely support that, because that gets the milk to more babies. And I think that's so important. And I'm so glad that moms are talking about their experiences, whether it's selling or whether it's sharing. But I want you to be aware of the fact that sometimes for-profit milk banks do not disclose that to moms, that they are then selling your milk, and not just to cover the cost of processing and shipping, but for hundreds of dollars an ounce. So to moms.
See, that's important to know, though. So the reality is, when we're talking $3 to $4 an ounce, and then a profit company that's charging $50, and there is a big difference. Right. And this is something that's helping moms. And when pharmaceutical companies come involved with it, it changes that donation. So it is important to be aware that they're and the end result could be very detrimental. And we support anyone who is donating, because I know I'm never able to do that. I've seen some moms talk about that they. I definitely was always treading water. I think my nose was maybe like this sometimes, and like this other time I was never able to really donate my breast milk. And for moms that can, I think you're the heroes. You are heroes for all the breastfeeding moms, and I support you. I congratulate you, and you're amazing ladies that can do
that. I agree. I agree. So if you have resources in your community or something that has worked for you, I think it's great if you share a video and then maybe post or tag that group as you're sharing our video. And so that we're talking about donation, but you can also share the resources that are working for you, because the most important thing we know is that babies are healthy and having good health outcomes. And if moms have found a way with informal sharing, as long as you know the person, because there are risks. If you are buying milk off of Craigslist or some other website, then there's a good risk that milk has maybe some components that you wouldn't feel comfortable with. And of course, that's milk that's not going to be pasteurized. It's not going to be processed. So however it comes out of the boob, that's what you're getting. So be sure if you are doing milk sharing, that I know somebody mentioned a group that they were in, and if you know the people that you're sharing with, the research shows that that's just fine. That's just fine. It's just
be smart. Do the research, and we're hoping on this we're going to be able to make that research a little bit easier and those sites a little bit easier for moms to find, because we're talking about it and we're sharing it, and we've got a collection of moms talking about it. So if you know a mom that could benefit from this, please tag her in this post, because I think this is really important. Please share this page. And I think we should product we're going to give away.
Yeah, I just want to answer one question first. So, Mercedes, you had a great question. You want to be sure that you go to the Human Milk Banking Association of North America, and I'll post the link in the comments. And that way you know for sure that that's a nonprofit milk bank. And so, just go ahead and go there and then kind of look up who's closest. Give them a call. Let them know you're interested in being a donor. If you're interested in receiving breast milk, I would find out if your insurance company will cover it as a benefit of some, like a medication or a therapeutic treatment. And if they are, then I think that's great. And you can go ahead and provide breast milk in that way. But if it's not, just be careful. No buying off of Craigslist.
That's a big no-no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Amy ask a good question about pasteurization. I know I asked this question to you, Helen. Pasteurization is all over the place. It is a controversial statement of why it has to be done. But I think you explained a little bit pasteurization and what's the purpose of that. Because obviously my milk isn't pasteurized when it goes to my baby, but it's one source to one baby. So explain a little bit about why pasteurization is being done.
So pasteurization is important because the donors are people that could have a variety of different bacteria, which is normal for each person. We all have different skin bacteria. We all have bacteria in our homes, and that's normal. That's natural. We need that bacteria. But when you're getting milk ready to go out to babies that potentially have different problems with your immune systems or health problems, we need to be sure that that milk is as safe as possible and we're not introducing any pathogens into that baby's digestive tract. So what we know, we've been pasteurizing for many years, and we know that there are some nutrients that are reduced from the heat of pasteurization, but that it's not many, and that most of all of the great components of breast milk and the living components all survive that process, and it's still a great health benefit for babies to get donor milk.
Okay, so pasteurization is just mainly safety net, because we're collecting milk from so many different sources, and the traveling and the packaging and all of the fridge and homes and all, to make sure there's not any organisms that could be potentially harmful, especially for these very babies that their immune system could be compromised. So that, and it doesn't destroy any of the good nutrients. So that's very good to know. So I hope we answered that question for you, Amy. And a bunch of people, and we're kind of wrapping up our on milk donation. We are giving away to 5 potential moms our Milkie's breast milk storage bags, which I think is a great product to give away because it really relates to what we're talking about. And Helen, there's something that's really great on our milk bags. Why don't you tell us what's on the milk bags?
Well, so I was a breast milk donor, and so when I wanted to develop a Milkie's breast milk storage bag, I went around to the milk banks and said, what are you looking for in a storage bag? What are your problems that you have with the storage bags you're using now? And they said, well, they always are breaking off and they have all these issues with leaking. And so I wanted to develop a bag that would not only work for moms like me and you, but also moms that are donating milk, because if you think about it, that milk is traveling through many different hands. So it's important that our bags were durable enough that they could survive anything. And also on each of our Milkie's bags, they have a prompt for you to learn more about milk banking to be a lifesaver. And I think that's important because the more we talk about breast milk donation, I think the more moms are going to recognize that they have enough milk and they shouldn't waste it, and they should go ahead and find out more about donating. So we have a little love for donation on each of our storage bags.
Donation, yes,
a little love.
And that's the whole thing about Milkie's products, which is amazing because Milkie's products, we're both inventors, we're both moms that breastfed and invented amazing products for breastfeeding moms. And that's what Milkie's is all about, not just being product. It's about products that make sense. It's about products that are going to be really helpful in moms' breastfeeding journeys. And our bags, which is what we're going to be giving away. So keep doing those comments because we're going to be randomly choosing moms to give away those breast milk storage bags. The Milkie's bags is going to be that it relates to also milk banking. And, I think that's an amazing thing. So anything else you want to talk about milk banking, or have we covered most of it?
I just want to tell moms, be sure that you call your local milk bank and see if you're eligible to be a donor. Even if you think, oh, well, I don't know, I'm not perfect, I don't eat perfect, I, have a drink now and then. Please give them a call and see if you are eligible to be a donor, because you may be able to provide life-saving milk for another family's baby. So yeah. Pay it forward, right?
Pay it forward if you can. If you're a mom that can't, we totally one of those moms that couldn't. But if you're a mom that you have the ability to, I think that's an amazing thing. You are our breastfeeding heroes. So we love that. And lots of comments that we weren't able to get to, but we are definitely going to be getting to those comments after the live is there. So please share this live. I think it's very informative for moms. Tag a mom that you think this live would really help. And we hope to see you guys again next week, or not next week. Ooh, it's going really crazy. Next month for our next BoobTube, which is going to be in Vegas. Woo! All right, guys, we're going to be posting some stuff.
I'm going to tell them why we're in, guys, just really quick, why we're in Vegas. So I appreciate all your comments, and we will get to you. And Dora and Ashley and Jessica and Barbie Ann, thank you so much for commenting. You really make our day when you're responding to us. That's really makes it a lot of fun to be doing this. But we're going to be in Las Vegas. We'll be at a big baby product showcase that we'll be sharing Milkie's products with people from all over the world, and we're going to be there, and we are going to be showing you the coolest product from Vegas. So we'll be at the convention center, and it's just several floors of the newest and coolest baby products. And there's so many moms that are just out there that have great ideas and, just follow their dreams and develop companies and develop products. And so that's kind of our story, what we got to do. And we get to meet a lot of moms that are just like us and kind of just made it happen.
And dads.
And dads. There's some dads there too. You're going to get to meet a lot of them next month when we do the BoobTube. We're going to be just doing little informal videos for a lot of that week as well, with just, people that strike us as people that are, have the same mission of putting good into the world and really following their dreams and, solving problems for parents.
Showing some of their products, as well as probably showing you, I don't think we've ever actually shown all of our Milkie's products. So this will be a way for us to show all of our Helen's amazing Milk Saver, and of course the great Milkie's milk bags that we're going to be giving away at the end of the show. So again, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you learned some things. I hope you had a little fun at the same time, and we're all about empowering moms. So love you guys so much. See you next month.